websites. Gun Channels would like to remind you.
What the hell?
Welcome to Gun Channel.
Hi, thanks.
There's everything on my phone.
We turned it.
Is it even on here
Excellent
anymore?
59 at Radio Free America. This is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight-ish Eastern, and we talk about guns for an hour. I guess it's almost 1 a.m. now, but that's because it's Thanksgiving, I guess. So I don't know if roll call is still going or not, but there's a whole bunch of people showed up, so we're live. We've got 9 people watching. Snob joining us from basically Tulsa. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I haven't got to be on here in a while. Been busy working, so glad I could be on tonight.
Right on. What the hell is Xgiving? I don't like Thanksgiving, so I call it Xgiving. What are you gonna do about it? That's what Xgiving is. I have a problem with the thoughts behind Thanksgiving, but I'm not a big fan of Thanksgiving. So anyway, we had our Thanksgiving today. Our family's cheap, like me, so maybe that's where I get it. And they ate their stuff today, and I watched them. And then everybody flies tomorrow. It's super cheap, I guess. I don't know, but anyway, so our stuff is over. This is pre-show for some of y'all, I suppose. I know that it is a time of year where people that like to stress out have the Olympics of stressing out. It's actually, the Olympics is only once every 4 years. It's like the Super Bowl of stressing out. Do your people stress out more on Thanksgiving or Christmas? We got Gary jumping in from Kansas. Thanks for joining. Do your people stress out more on Thanksgiving or Christmas?
Christmas here, for sure.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, both are tie, very close to a tie, but I think for back in my day, Thanksgiving seemed like, for some reason, more tension.
I don't really stress out over anything. I don't think really anybody in my bunch does.
Oh, that'd be awesome. I can't even imagine. I'd probably like holidays if I had a family like that. I do not have that kind of family. All right, so then, I don't know, unless you guys want to talk about it, we'll quit talking about it, and we can talk about other important things that are more fun. So in the Instagrams, which is an app you can use on your telephones, there's a conversation going on between me and Dead Horse, and he said he was going to show up, and we were going to talk about how effective rallies might be, I think is what we're going to talk about. But since he ain't here, we'll see if anybody wants to talk about that or not. But otherwise, I just wanted to have a show, and have something open for the Patreons. I'll put a link over there so anybody's Patreon can jump in. If you want to jump in, conservatives out there, stars out there. I don't know, has Vandalistic ever jumped into a chat? I don't know if DM has ever jumped into a chat. Pants is usually working or something. But anyway, if you're interested, let me know on Gun Channels, and I can send you a link. Otherwise, were you guys over in roll calls or just hanging out?
I was in the chat listening to that train wreck.
I was in it for a little bit, and then I got a call from work I had to take care of real quick. And then after I hung around here a while, I saw this was up, so I came over this way.
Right on. Thanks for joining. Do you get paid like extra on holidays, or is it just assumed with something like that there are no holidays? You just work whenever because it's more important to get electricity.
I'm salaried, so it doesn't really matter.
Oh, okay. So do you guys have, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's a big day, right? You guys have tomorrow off then?
Yep.
I ain't going back to work till Monday.
Same here.
Right on. I can't wait to go back to work as soon as the show's over. As soon as the show's over, because I got my giant ass monitor. So all I had the chance to do was pick it up today because it came in the mail, and then go watch people eat Thanksgiving shit. And then I didn't even set it up yet. So I'm going to do that when the show's over.
Oh, so you got toys to play with. Cool.
Yeah, well, Tool, as I'm looking at it as. But yeah, it's a 30-inch ultra wide. So I think it's about as up and down as mine is here, the one I have now, which isn't big. It's like a 20-inch or something. And but it's going to be like 2 of these stuck together, which I can't wait. I can run my video software on here. It's just, it's not easy to run it, but I'll definitely be able to play with it a little bit before the laptop shows up.
Yeah, I really want a big wide monitor. I just don't want to spend the money on one because I'm a tightwad when it comes to some stuff.
I have a 27. It's not too bad, but a 30 would be even nicer.
Well, let me see what this is. Well, the ultra wide means that it's a different ratio. In a normal monitor is a what do you call it? A rectangle.
Mhm.
This is like a crazy squished rectangle. So mine's a 24 now. So it's not super huge, only 6 inches bigger, but it's 6 inches to the left instead of up.
Yeah, well, I saw the specs on that one you're getting, and it's an ultra high resolution also, so it ought to be really good for what you're wanting it for.
What is this, a Yankee monitor? It could be to the right.
That's the thing. I don't really care. I mean, I've never cared. The only thing I've ever cared about monitors is how big they are in front of me. And I don't know what a good one is, so I don't know what I'm missing maybe. So I didn't even look at that. So you're saying that potentially it could be just a higher quality monitor that I'm used to also, not just bigger. Well, this is a second monitor for the laptop, so it'll be equivalent to a workstation.
Yeah, I'm all about it. I want a big, nice monitor.
And then I also got this deal that I keep talking about. That's like the thing I have now for my hard drives. You plug it in like a toaster. So I just have this thing plugged in with USB to my computer. Whenever I want, I just pull the hard drive out and plug another hard drive in. Because I've got years worth of hard drives just sitting on the shelf here. Just old computers and filled up hard drives and filled up hard drives and old computers and dozens of them, like a ton of these things. So instead of having them all in bays and having to hassle with trying to have them all ready access, it's easier to just have them all laying out here as raw hard drives, and I plug them into this thing. Problem is, there's only one slot net thing I plug into, so I got another one now, so it's technically a second one. I still have this one, but now I have one that has 2 slots, which just means I can keep a hard drive plugged in and have like an open port, I guess you could say, to like swap them out. And I've never had that ability like that much. I don't know, ports, I guess. You only have 3 USB ports typically into a computer. So it's always been like a weird card game, shuffle game. So I'm going to be able to play a little bit with that before the new computer comes in. Landalistic is saying no one pays attention to his video, so he's not paying more money on your setup. Well, for me, it was time. I figure spend a lot of time just watching, and then I don't do stuff because I know my computer can't handle it. And I'm sick of that. I've taken too much video that doesn't, isn't pushed out there. I don't care if anybody watches it. I just, for my own satisfaction, I want the stuff that I've collected to be on the internet. It's the whole point of collecting it was about. Anyone have a shooting sled they recommend? Looking at some from Caldwell. I have one that I just randomly bought when I think it was, I don't know why. I bought it one time just randomly. And I just thought it looked neat, and it was in front of me, and it was cheap. For whatever reason, no one was buying it. It was a used one at a gun shop, and I bought it, and it's hard to explain, but it kind of has the shape of a boomerang. Like most of them look like a capital letter I, when they're looking at them from above, looking down at a shooting sled. Is that what we're talking about? Like a thing that holds a rifle?
That's what I was thinking of. I have a lead sled.
So, a lot of times they look like the letter I. They got a thing going across at the front. They got a thing going across at the back. They hold the gun in sort of 2 little forks. And then there's a support going, whatever, from the front to the back, right underneath the gun. This one, that support that goes from the front to the back is like a boomerang shape, or at least it's not straight. And then that way you can have an AR in there. And that was what it was made for. And I didn't even know it when I bought it. I just bought it because it was, like I say, inexpensive. And it's all metal and everything. So I wish I could tell you the name, but I think even if I did know the name, it was probably like a company that's come and gone. But I don't know. I have never been satisfied with any other one I've ever seen, honestly, except for some of the really high-end metal ones. Is yours plastic? That Caldwell one he's talking about, is that plastic, or is that?
Mine's metal. It's a lead sled. It's metal. I don't know. I don't remember which model it is, but it may be the one Clover's talking about because it's made for like ARs and stuff too. For the longer mags, but I don't remember what model it is.
Oh, he's saying that one that's a Caldwell has a curved bar. So if that's something, if you're going to shoot an AR, that's the only thing I was going to advise is that if you get one with that bar, you got to use 10-round mags or something dumb. But if you get one that doesn't have that, it's typically up in the air high enough that you can put a standard mag in there. Clover has a link. He's just not jumping in. But you know the ones I'm talking about that are like plastic. They're made out of like the same plastic as like a.
Yeah, I used to have one of those cheapy ones years ago that was just basically a shooting rest, not really a sled to hold from any recoil or anything, and really hold it in place.
I guess for a kid or something too, those things can be pretty handy. Like a kid that understands what to do, but they're just not physically big enough yet to fit into a gun. They don't have to fit in it right. You know, they can just have it in the sled, get up there, aim it or whatever, and just kind of be laying on it instead of holding it right. Now, do you ever gotten one of those deals where it like looks like a syringe or something and you stick it in there and then that way you're not even screwing with it to pull the trigger? Like the trigger is isolated?
No, I've seen them, but I've never used one.
Yeah, Clover is talking about the kind that are for maintenance. He's typing that because he refuses to actually join the chat. But I've seen ones that are basically plastic, but then they're designed to have like sandbags from the range or something stuck on them. So they're strong enough to shoot them from them, and they're you can tell they're kind of made for shooting, but they just have no weight at all, which I could understand. If you're taking it back and forth to a public range, at least out here in Arizona, the public range has sandbags. You know, somebody took a bunch of probably lead bags or whatever, you know, like people fill them with sand and sewed them up. And those are just at the range. Like they exist there, and the what do you call it? The volunteers just sew them up and make sure that there are always some there. So if you have a place like that, or you have rocks or something where you can, if you're dragging that thing back and forth, I could see the advantage of having a lightweight, whatever you call it, like the structure, and then you just add weight when you get there, right?
Yeah. My plastic one was specifically made for shooting, but I didn't like it very well. It wasn't great at all. The rifle moved too easy in it. Unlike the lead sled, it'll pretty much stay put in it.
I don't know. So now we've gone around. Pants is saying about the pistol ones. I've only even ever known a couple. I don't even know. I don't know anybody who's used a pistol one in front of me. I guess I might know a couple of people that probably have one, but I've never actually. I'm trying to think if I've ever even used one. I might have been around people that were using them, so I feel like I know how to use one, but I definitely never owned one. You guys ever had a pistol device?
I'd love to have a ransom rest, but they're spendy and I'm a tightwad. They have one on Amazon, like a high score or something. It doesn't look that bad. It's not nothing like the ransom rest, but it doesn't look that bad. I thought about buying it, but I just haven't.
So is that with the remote trigger and everything, or it's just a rest?
The ransom rest had the remote trigger thing.
Okay.
But the high score one does not, but it still clamps the pistol in.
I know we have the rifle kind at my range. There's one that sits on the rack back behind everybody that I think you can borrow. I've never used it.
Well, that's a great point too. Yeah, a lot of ranges, especially if there's like a range officer and they've got eyes and ears that you can rent or something, maybe then they'll have a lot of times they'll have a rest you can rent that's enough to sight in with or whatever. Oh, well, so what's next? Clover, did you say like? Oh, I thought you said killed. What the hell did I read that?
I had one of those Caldwell pistol, that when he's talking about the Pistolero, but I loaned it to somebody, and I don't remember who. It's been years. Never seen it again.
I don't know what he's talking about. He's talking about something to shoot a pistol from.
It's just a little pistol rest. It has I think if it's the one I have, I think that was the name of mine. It has a little knob in the front that lets you adjust the height up and down on it. It has a little sandbag thing that fits in it. Or cushion thing, I guess he's saying use sandbags, and I think it just has like a little foam, basically cushion thing. If it's the one I had,
It's not a lock or nothing though, like a vice.
no, it's just
The
a
place
rest.
you rested on. Okay, I think I know what you're talking about. Maybe.
It has like a place that your grip sits on the back, so you're sitting at the same spot. I don't know. I loaned it to somebody and never saw it again.
Mike's throwing money at YouTube. Thanks for that. Thanks for the gesture. $435. That's how much a ransom rest costs? That's a gun.
Oh yeah, they're expensive. That's the reason I ain't got one.
This is the thing you're talking
Yeah,
about.
that's the thing I had. Yeah, that's the exact thing I had.
I'm not buying that. That's crazy. That's what sandbags are for. I guess, like I said, I don't have a kid or nothing. Like if you had a kid or something you're going to take out and they're not going to be able to hold up a gun right away, or they have to get adjusted or accustomed to it. But what is the difference between that and making something out of wood? Any difference? Just faster,
I
I
don't
guess.
think so. I just use a sandbag with, like when I'm sighting in an optic on a pistol or something now, I just use a sandbag just because it's what I have. But I kind of want just a high score one just because they're not that expensive and they still clamp it in nice and tight. I'm going to find a picture of it.
Now, Clover one
Can't-
time did a video with this. It was a foam thing that was kind of in an X shape. And you could use that as a rest. And I actually got a piece of foam from work that was almost in that exact shape. And I'm going to use that for a rest. I mean, it's cheap, but it'll work. It's basically the same thing. I didn't have to pay $15 for it. Yeah, a Foam Action Sports. That's it.
I was typing, but is that what you guys are talking about? The foam thing with the V notch in it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same thing as if you went to a pool and you're learning how to swim and they give you that like little foam surfboard looking thing and you lay on it and it keeps you afloat? Is it that same
It's
kind
a
of thing?
different density of foam, but I don't know if there's a picture of it anywhere. See if I can find something.
See, I was thinking about just getting one of these for just like sighting in optics or testing the, seeing how accurate pistols are or something. Because they're not that expensive and it actually clamps into it. I just don't know how great they are. I don't know anybody that has one.
And it's metal.
Yeah.
And you,
I mean, I'm sure it's a lot better than the Caldwell, but it's probably not nowhere near a ransom rest.
yeah, it was like $50.
Yeah, compared to almost 500.
You could seriously just look at that and go to the hardware store, and it would probably cost you about $30 worth of buying little pieces and drilling holes for half an hour.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, there's nothing really to it.
Now, do you think that screws down to the table, or that's just heavy?
I think it just sits there. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you could make it where you could mount it or clamp it on or something.
Now, if those bottom pieces were metal, then that thing would be super heavy, right? So as soon as I saw those bottom pieces and started thinking about them being super, solid metal, made me think of, I've seen already on Instagram, people are making bars of metal with the little Mandalorian little logo in them, and they're selling those. Does
So
anybody
it weighs 6 pounds.
That whole thing weighs 6 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of heavy though for
Mm-hmm.
a rifle or a pistol. You think anybody's gonna? Can you imagine anybody buying a piece of metal with that Mandalorian thing just off, to make it look like a TV show metal? There's another person who has a link and is refusing to join in. So this one is $15. That's basically the kind of foam that you would use to smooch Kydex, huh?
You can get 15% off with the code CloverTech. Is what I'm seeing. So
It does look pretty similar to that kind of foam. It's like a closed. That foam
he said
used
it's
for
a
Kydex is
proprietary
closed cell
foam, but Clover did some videos with it and it worked really well.
think if I had one, I'd pop a hole in it and then tie a rope.
Go.
What?
I said you can't hardly beat the price, and it can't cost much to ship it.
Well, it's big though.
It's big, but that would be, you could turn it on its side, I guess, for, if you wanted to go lower, but you could turn it on.
Shipping. Maybe it would fit in a $7.50 bag, but otherwise it's going to go into a $14 box.
I don't know if it's one of those little hard things like you get at the store and you put it in a sink full of water and it gets big like that. That would be kind of cool.
Like the little dinosaurs you used to get as a kid. Well, I mean, I'm a little younger, so I used to get as a kid when we go on vacation to someplace. They had the stupid little pills with dinosaurs in them. Thought I was getting this great thing.
But he did some videos where he had revolvers on top there with the, trying to see if the
cylinder would blow up.
If the cylinder would blow it up, and it really didn't seem to hurt it. So
he says they ship in a Mylar bag and it's super light.
So if you want to try something on the cheap to see if you'd like it or not, might not be a bad option.
I mean, that'd be neat if you were going, if you had to go to a range or something and you could just throw it in your bag. It'd be light to just throw in your bag and not take up a ton of room like a sandbag.
That's for sure. I just thought I'd throw that out there as an option.
Oh, then we got this guy showing up.
Oh.
So this guy was in somehow he got onto a John Crump show today.
Yeah.
Oh, you're letting that guy?
Sensation, an influencer.
I mean, I'm just going to say, I think John Crump had his best show ever tonight, and that's pretty sad. I'm saying that with Obnoxious on there, but it really was pretty good.
Oh, we didn't watch the same show then. My lawyer said I should at least watch it once before we have the lawsuit or whatever. So I'm familiar in case we have to go apart.
Oh, so that's perfect for road hunting, is what CloverTac is promoting here.
Road what?
Road hunting.
Oh yeah, vehicle window. No legal use for that ever.
Yeah. Let me roll this window down one more crank to get it just right.
Maybe John Crump lost a bet or was doing one of those, how a lot of times the celebrities will get bored and they'll be like, oh, I'm gonna just wreck my show. I'm gonna just drive it intentionally right over the edge. One of those kind of things. Maybe he's on pills. We don't know. There's a lot of dead air. Taking 3 people.
Oh, sorry. I'm over here on eBay trying to see if they have one of those.
What are you buying us? Yeah.
Well, I was looking to see how much those rests were on eBay, just because I have some money in my PayPal I need to burn. So I thought I might just buy it. These are $73 over there.
Wow.
Never mind. Not true. You guys obviously don't hook out here pig hunting pastures. I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying. I'm just saying it would be very useful for people who like to hunt deer from the side of the road,
or anything else.
But in Arizona, it doesn't matter if you're hunting game animals or varmints. You don't get to shoot anywhere near a road. You got to be 200 yards off the road or whatever the hell it is. Unless it's handicapped, you can be disabled and shoot from a vehicle.
I mean, we've shot coyotes and everything else out of the door of the feed truck all my life.
Yeah, I mean, what is
on your own stuff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, allegedly on our own property. Sometimes maybe from a county road, allegedly. But I mean, they were still on our property. But
Well, again, what the rules are and what applies in real life are two different things. Like, you know, they write rules for the crazy people that are gonna be whatever crazy. All right, with that, 15 feet off the road. That's crazy reckless. That's reckless. No wonder Texas is so reckless. That's why they took a big chunk of Texas and called it Oklahoma. That's where all the safe people are. What was I just about to say? We had dang it, I just muted to cough and I coughed whatever the hell I was thinking right out of my head. Thanks. Totally lost what I was gonna say. I was gonna transition into something here. Anyway, so anything else? Any other topics? Audience out there, you're part of this. You're going to be held liable for this thing as much as the three of us. There's 17.
I'm just here for the sweet potatoes. So,
oh my goodness, it's like the worst thing. I hate sweet potatoes. You really like those things, Gary? Where are you at on sweet potatoes?
I like sweet potatoes.
I'm not alone. I'm not the only person in the world who can't stand those things, but I understand that some people like them. I don't know why. You make them all sweet, right? Like,
well, like, yeah,
ever.
my family puts like the syrup stuff on them and all that. Yeah, I only get them like Christmas and Thanksgiving. So,
Although sweet potato fries are pretty good too.
yeah, definitely better than the onion rings at Tally's.
Yeah. Had sweet potato fries for just a while.
Hold on, that restaurant on the corner?
Yeah.
What was wrong with the onion rings?
Nothing normally. I've got them there a million times before, but they screwed up our order and came and took our fries away. They brought us all sweet potato fries. They came and took them away and like rushed out onion rings, and they weren't
done.
done.
Wait, hold on. So you ordered sweet potato fries. They came out and took them from you and replaced them with onion rings?
We ordered onion rings. They messed up and put sweet potato fries on our plate. So,
okay. And so they didn't leave them?
They were going to at first, and then they came back out of the kitchen and took our plates back in.
The waitress was like completely dumbfounded. She didn't know what to do. Poor girl. I think she just misunderstood.
It was a bad night for her. Yeah.
Yeah, they literally took our plates with our sandwiches on it back to the kitchen and brought them back with just the sandwiches on them, no onion rings.
I hate when they do that. I do not like to see. I don't know. We're not going to get into all that, but I do not like it when my food gets removed from my line of sight and to me. But so their onion rings aren't bad. It's just you guys were kidding around about the meat that particular dinner because I was really debating that night when I walked over there when you guys were all out there BSing and making 80% in the driveway. I was debating to get onion rings or fries.
Yeah, no, their onion rings are normally good. They're like hand battered, normally really good, but they rushed them that night and they just weren't done.
Dang it, because their fries aren't that good. I should have got the onion rings.
No, their sweet potato fries are good.
Yeah, they
I'm not eating sweet potato.
I had second thoughts. I wish they'd have just left those.
Yeah, me too. I ate about 3 of them before they took them.
Yeah, cough. Would you ever heard of coughing before? Cough all over that food. They're not taking it.
He's not wrong.
So you're taking these back? Okay. Doctor said it's no big deal.
Why didn't we think of that?
Oh, come on, you got to be a lot cheaper. You got to live on the streets for a while. Never forget what it's like to be hungry. Let's see. A friend wants to buy my Ohio National Guard Remington 870. Should I sell it? So I'll let these guys answer first.
If the price is right.
Clover and Ghost could easily answer this question, but they're not in here. They chose not to join tonight. These other people have had invites, but they are not asking me on gun channels. So just Gary and Snob will answer this one.
Only sell a gun if the price is right.
I guess that's true. Well, let's hear the price. Tell us the price. Go ahead, Gary. I think I cut you off.
I don't know what the price is. But I'm saying
if you want to.
All I was going to say was it depends on how bad you want to keep it. Obviously, he's thinking of selling it. So if you're getting, a price worth, don't give it away because that's a pretty decent thing to keep. I wouldn't give it away. But I don't know. Snob might know what a good price is for one. I don't.
Not on a Ohio National Guard one.
Yeah,
But
I
I
don't
try not to
know.
sell
Does that
guns ever.
like that? Because there's some special setup.
Am I wrong, or is Kent State in Ohio?
Yes, it is.
So you're talking about a gun that's got markings from potentially, if nothing else, some thing about Ohio. Now, I think National Guard guns, period, are cool. And when you look at a commodity like a shotgun, I have no respect for shotguns. You guys know me; I don't even like the damn things that much. But I understand where they are, their significance and their use, and definitely their significance in history or whatever. So if I had one that had arsenal markings on it, it ain't ever leaving my hands. I mean, that's not a commodity that you trade or that has value like that. To me, it would be more like, especially depending on how I got it, like everything about that is interesting. You own a piece of United States history, and whoever you've got descendants, you're giving that to them. You're going to give them $15 or $100. Who cares about $100? You can make $100 any millions of ways. Getting that gun, there's only so many of them. And 870, totally different answer. Sell it. I don't care. If it's your grandpa's 870, there's only one of those guns in the world. Arsenal, Ohio Arsenal 870. How many can there possibly be? 1,000? Maybe? At the most, like 2,000? I can't even imagine they'd have 2,000 of those guns. Shotguns are barely used. These were issued after Kent State, but could not have been put down, but could have been used to put down. See, so they got potentially some history. Plus, it's just, again, any arsenal, I think, is worth something. But you didn't tell us the price, though. I mean, if it's like $3,000 or something, somebody really wants it from you, then okay.
Exactly.
Clover
I ain't
saying,
selling a gun.
Clover is saying, even though he's not in here because he refuses to join the chat, he can tell you every single gun I've ever sold, can count them on 10 fingers easily. I used to be like that. You guys like that?
I try not. I have a point not to ever sell guns, but I went through a divorce one time and I sold almost everything I owned. Then it was a sad time for me.
Well, I've sold 3 ever. I don't really regret it.
I mean, I'm not going to ask. That's as a percentage of your guns, though. That's a shitty question. So, I think that guns are unique. It's not like maybe they are kind of. I was going to say it's not like a record or something. Like if you have a record and it's possible. No, that's not the best way. It's not quite a car either because cars are so expensive. I think they're unique. They're a manageable price, and they have serious value. They don't decline in value. They don't depreciate as much as some of those other things. And I know some people barter with them a lot. Like they'd rather, I definitely know people throughout my life that would buy a revolver. Doesn't matter the brand. Certainly before the internet, it didn't matter the brand. Buy a revolver though before they would buy gold or stamps or anything else to invest in, just because they knew they could sell that revolver, and in the meantime they had a revolver. Instead of having a piece of gold or something. And then there's people that just, you got to know. I know Snob knows people. I bet you Gary knows people that just, it's like a rake or a shovel for them. They don't give a crap if it's that they might have one shotgun that their grandpa gave them that they care about, but shotguns are shotguns, and they'll use it to, unpry their Jeep when it gets high-ended on the field or whatever, break the stock and just throw it away and buy another one. They don't care. That kind of person. And then that person would care about selling a gun or whatever. I know people that just can't sit still. Like I don't know if you know people like this from gun shows that'll just, they just live to buy and sell stuff. And guns are, the kind of thing you can have 6 guns and, go to a gun show with those 6 guns and have a really good time all year, haggling with people. And some of them are going to get move, and some of them are you're going to hold on to for a while because you have the price too high. But, they're kind of unique. I mean, I can't think of anything. Maybe high-end collectibles like baseball cards maybe are kind of similar because they can hold so much value and you can carry them around. But aside from like rifles and stuff, you can really carry a lot of expensive guns. So I definitely know people that sell them, but
No, I bought some like in bad shape just to Cerakote them and have them for a little while and then end up selling them.
oh
Make
yeah,
a few
that's
bucks
another,
on
I
'em.
didn't even think about that. But yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
But that's not one I wanted or anything. I try not to get rid of any I ever wanted. Occasionally, I might trade one if I find something I want more and don't have the money right then. But
I don't know when I switched from acquiring only to selling them, but once I flip that switch, it's not a big deal. I mean, there's certain guns I won't sell or whatever. There's no need to sell or something, but like, well, I've had to sell some, or I've decided to sell some. I guess just I don't know, you can only have so many guns in your hands at one time, or you can only be interested in so many guns at one time. So I also don't have kids I'm worried about handing them down to or anything either. I guess that would be different. But if you have kids, I can imagine there's a certain amount of stuff that it would seem silly to me to let it go when you know that your kids might not be able to get it. Certainly not be able to get it as cheap as you got it. Like that zip gun I got. I think, if somebody offered me $700 for it, I'd probably sell it, right? It'd be crazy not to, right? But if I was thinking about it, if I had a kid or something, I really wanted that gun, I wouldn't be like, oh, we'll get another zip gun one day, like, because that might never happen.
yeah, definitely. And that's just some of my guns I'll never get rid of just because, that reason.
Well, I have stuff that used to be too. I won't.
Kitty is saying got this many guns, this many rifles, or this many handguns, this many rifles, this many pistols, or whatever. And then all that, and I was sitting there going, first I was thinking, I wonder. I think when I first moved out of the house, I could count, how many guns I had, but that didn't last very long. And I was also thinking after that, like, it would be good to write, or I think you could just write in the car after that. For a lot of people, I mean, like, I have this and this and this, and then in the car.
Yeah, I have guns that I don't even like that I won't sell that I'll just put, as a desk gun or a shotgun or something. Tractor gun.
You got a boat. Do you have like fishing guns?
I don't fish, but our boat's just for sport. But I take a gun in the glove box every time. Just my carry gun. I usually just throw it in the glove box.
For pirates, probably a good strategy.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah,
put it in
pirates
a
on
zip-
Grand Lake are rough.
I've
You put
seen
it
a
in
lot
a
of
Ziploc bag or something.
No, I throw it in the glove. If it ain't gonna get wet in the glove box of the boat, better not.
I've seen a
If
lot.
it does, we got problems.
I've seen a lot of documentaries, and I feel like if I had a boat, the way to deal with anything like that is to have a seat that flips up, so you can hide stuff underneath of there, and then have a couple of Uzis in there.
Now, I do always put my bodyguard in a dry box on my jet ski.
Well, Clover's now saying something about a log. So it'd be interesting to have some chats about that. It's one of those things that I know we've done over and over and over throughout the years. I don't know if anybody's done it recently, but the idea of having a log. I know people that get as detailed as having books, like a little note. There's basically log books that you can get for each gun. Like if you know anybody that's actually been a sniper or that's like a high-end hunter or whatever you want to call it, like they'll have a little book with their gun and they'll know pretty much have a record of every round that's gone through it. And then that's how they monitor how that gun shoots, for the real accuracy. But I know people that just for the sake of, once you have a few guns and you've actually lived with those guns for a while, you'll have spurts, right? You'll have times when you're really into shooting and you get a lot of shooting done. You got friends that shoot and you get shooting done. You got the means and you got the time, and then something will happen and you don't, and then you get back into it and then you don't, and then you get back into it again, you know? So as that kind of happens, you lose track of where these guns are. Like, okay, do I have 1,000 rounds to that one, or do I have 3,000 rounds to that one, or I have 500 rounds to this one, or 5,000 rounds, right? So people will have log books for each of their guns. They'll keep track of when they switch triggers out, how often they change, recoil springs, all kinds of stuff. Competition shooters get crazy like that sometimes. And then, of course, what Clover's talking about, I think it's more like a spreadsheet type of log, like an arsenal inventory type of thing where you keep track. And I've never been satisfied. First off, I wasn't satisfied because they were just crude and you could do better just building something yourself. Back before there was a lot of apps. And then when they started doing apps, I don't know about you guys, I'll ask you in a second if you think it's safe to put your inventory on apps. And then, like, I'll just finish with, I keep mine on a thumb drive and just a plain old spreadsheet because I don't want to be worried about any kind of proprietary software glitching or not being compatible with future operating systems. But also because I'm never satisfied with what they offer as criteria. I like to keep a lot of stuff in there that they don't seem to have on those pre-made logs. But what do you guys think about putting your gun inventory on like an app or something?
I'm just like you. I have a spreadsheet with the serial number, model number, the date I purchased it, what I paid for it, et cetera, et cetera. I don't have any kind of app I use. I don't know about Snob here. I'll let him speak for himself. I know they make fun of me for having a spreadsheet, but I think it's useful.
Not for that. You have a spreadsheet for everything, Gary. That's what we make fun of you about.
I'm an IT guy. What do you want, man?
Here, let me get my spreadsheet and I'll tell you how many spreadsheets I've got.
Exactly.
right.
I bet he has one for that. I downloaded the app here a while back because Obnoxious talked me into it, and I've literally never even opened it. But I keep saying I'm going to because I just keep them all handwritten, and you probably can't even read my writing on the serial numbers and stuff. And I don't keep anything but the serial numbers and model and what it is. And I need to update that because I bought a few guns since I've updated it. I think just 3, but still I need to do it. But no, I need to try the app and get it all on there because I think that'd be a lot neater way.
Now, it kind of depends again. If you've just got a gun, and it's like your gun or whatever, your kid might care, but otherwise it's just a Glock or it's just a whatever, stupid CZ nobody cares about, then it's not a big deal. But like I've got just weird stuff, like dumb things that are collectible, and I've got friends who I know want those things because they would have bought it if I didn't buy it kind of thing, or they're jealous of the fact that I've got it in my collection and they don't got it kind of thing, right? And they're almost valued less, you know what I mean? Especially like some of the junk I got. So in my spreadsheet, what I like to do is have for when it's appropriate or when it's applicable. And then there's a couple of guns that I've talked about before, like friends, us, like the people who live here will, the friends of mine will just move guns around. Like, hey, I need $500. And if I've got $500, great, give me the gun. You got $500. This one HK we do that with. So some of those, it's like, this is actually so-and-so's gun. Like, whatever, I have it right now, but give it back to them if I, whatever, if you're looking at a will or something like that. So that, and then like I say, some of the collectible stuff I'll put in there, like contact so-and-so, and if they don't want it, at least they'll get rid of it. Like they'll figure out where to get it, because I just hate to think that some of my stuff that, I've dug up or discovered along the way, maybe it's not one of a kind, but it's rare. I just hate to see that stuff be put in front of somebody who looks at it as a commodity. Oh, this is just generic 25 auto, and doesn't realize that that's a shitty, that's a really hard to find, specific factory model that, blah, 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 only 5 people care about, but give it to one of those 5 people. Don't just let it go. So I've got some of that, and what do you call it? And then I value, like I tried, that's, I guess, tougher, but whenever I put it in there, I'll put in what I paid just for my own shits and giggles, what I think it's actually worth, and then what I would want the person who's getting it to pay. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I put in basically an appraised value and then what I want it to go to the next person for or something like that, so that, I don't know, you can understand what I'm saying though. So like You know, if they have to do insurance or something, they know that this is $1,000 thing, but I'm not asking my friend to pay $1,000 for it. Give it to them for whatever they want for it. But again, you guys have kids and stuff, multiple kids. I guess you just let the kids kind of divvy it up, kind of based on what they already divvied
Yeah, I
up.
ain't doing a will. They can just fight it out.
You're like, here's all the guns, fight for them.
Exactly.
That's how that one movie came from. Just a family that had a lot of kids. Started fighting. What are they even talking about out here? Look at all these people that have links, refuse to show up, and then go out here and make a bunch of typing so that there's dead air on the chat while we have to read all our paragraphs and stuff to each other. I have stuff in an app. This guy's using an app, but it's a FUD app, so it's on a pager. He has to like go to a rotary phone and be like, and then it pages him, and then that's how he knows what's in his thing. But he's saying photos are important, particularly if you have swapped the stock and had it Cerakoted. Nobody Cerakotes their guns.
Nope.
Do NFA stuff, that's a whole other thing, that's for sure. I also put the date and what I paid. Yep. Got the app so Sugar Mama doesn't sell them for what I told her I paid for them. That's a good point, probably, too. And then that way, once you're dead, like, okay, here's the deal.
Then she can hate you after you're dead.
Here's the deal. We could have gone on some of those vacations, but
She was going to have him a nice funeral. Instead, she's cremating him and pouring him down the toilet.
please, 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 please don't give this to your brother-in-law. To your brother. Carry a photocopy of your tax stamp instead of carrying the original. Spectre saying, about the reloading data and those kind of records. That's interesting. I never thought about that. And that's something that I probably could do too, is go in and do that same kind of concept with some of my ammo. But I pretty much know where all that's going. All right, I mean, that's easy. Just say it's all going to this one place. Kids get a chance to pick their guns about once a year when I update the will and stuff. That's a good idea, way to do it. And then that way everybody knows ahead of time, so there's not like a bunch of fighting like snobs trying to invoke.
Well, I figure the way my kids fight now when they're young, it'll be good for them to relive those memories when I die and they have to fight.
All right, well, we got 15 people watching, so we chatted about all kinds of interesting things tonight with big dead air spaces in between them. So hard copies. I don't do hard copies anymore. I used to, but I kind of quit doing that years ago when I figured we're probably still going to have spreadsheets even whenever the hell I die. Like, no point in having paper, because the paper, people I think are going to see the paper, and no matter what you've done to update it, they're going to go with what the paper says, right? Like, that's the thing they have in their hand, so that must be the current thing. And then unless you're going to print out paper every time. I guess it depends on how often you're updating it too, though, I suppose.
If you're like me, whenever you happen to remember to.
Well, what do you think about the idea of having like an anniversary date where some people use their birthdays or something, but some people use like another holiday where you do your batteries and potentially update a log or something like that?
Kind of a bad idea. But still, you should probably be updating your log, as you buy guns too.
Well, that's true. But if you've got it like mostly, I mean, when we're talking, again, we're probably kind of assuming here, we're talking people with piles of guns, then, you've got it 99% updated. You bought a couple, you throw the receipts and wherever you throw your receipts. And then, okay, this thing's 99% done, but there's like 3 guns that were bought this year. It's not like they've got an insurmountable task trying to figure out what about these 3 guns. But that's a good point. Again, it depends on how fast you're buying guns, right? And how casually you buy guns. If you're like, oh yeah, I totally forgot I bought that shotgun after that guy, I should bring it in out of the truck, then of course you're not going to be updating your log every time you buy a gun, right?
Yeah, that happens.
Oh no, I know that happens. That's why when I was reading that comment before, I've got like 7 rifles and 3 handguns and whatever, and I'm like thinking, I've definitely, I can't even count probably how many times where if somebody would have pulled me over and said, "You got any guns in the vehicle?" I'd have to be like, "Hold on. I know about like the 3 that I was just taking to the range, but let me wait and think about if I've got something in a box or a, you know, like who knows? Like I only think for a minute. I don't know where I might have put one, and I don't want to say no."
I just looking at Clover's comment about having his ashes mixed into shot shells.
It's gross, and then they shoot doves with them and then eat the doves. That's gross.
That's a
All right,
fair.
well, we got dead air again. So throw some topics, or I guess I don't. There's no legality. It's only 14 viewers. I don't have to stay going. There's no legal precedent here.
Yeah, it's not 21.
Ashes on a tannerite charge. I don't want to know what a shotgun wedding looks like in your family.
No.
Grandpa's in the cake. Well, here, I was going to say this, and we'll use this to wrap up, or if it gets another thing going. But I did the family thing or whatever, and my sister's got. I'm not good at stuff, so I think one of the kids is this height, and the other kid is 6. So one of them is older. The other, I'm holding my hand for the older one, is older than her. So, but they're the same size as my other friends' kids who are girls, and it's amazingly different because this set of girls does not have their own, like, what do you call it, like iPads, or not iPads probably, but tablets, toys that are screens and computer garbage and whatnot, but instead are like Legos and little dolls and like guinea pigs and stuff. Like they don't get toys that are screens and computer stuff. My other friends, their kids live in screens, and there's a giant difference. I don't know if you all have just get to see that. I don't see kids that often, period. So these, 2 set of girls that I happen to know and get to hang around with, it's amazingly different. And I don't know, I just figured I'd throw that out there. Y'all are parents, so you probably dealt with this way more than I have.
Well, my kids are old enough there really weren't toys like that because they're both in their 30s.
Yeah, I guess.
So they grew up a little bit before the iPads and stuff came out.
I was telling them, like, because my sister's my age, so it's like, back in the day, they would throw us in front of TVs, and I'm sure that affected us compared to generation before where they didn't do that, right? Kids went out and played, I guess. We played and stuff. Like, I know about going outside and playing. It's just that we didn't do it every day. We would always get run out by the grandparents. Like, get out of here. You don't sit around watching TV all day. Get outside and play, right? Like, we were the dead generation of wasted youth because we were wasting all our time watching TV. And then these kids come around. Not every kid, but like, say, some of these kids. And it's like, at least I had to wait till Saturday. We had to wait till Saturday, right? Like, to watch something good. The rest of the time it was reruns and garbage. Like, maybe we got cartoons on Saturday or something. But like nowadays, you turn on whatever you want when you want, period. Like, what you feel like watching, you watch, right?
Sure.
But
yeah, we just got Disney Plus, and it's nothing but kid stuff all the time.
But it's not like cable where it's like, here's what we're going to play at 2 and here's what we're going to play at 3. You just go in there and decide, I'm watching Snow White. Click, and you're watching Snow White right now, right?
Yeah.
Like Netflix or something.
Mm-hmm. Which my kids have been really good, which they didn't have unlimited time. We used to limit their time on games and, tablets and stuff when they were young. And now it's just, whatever, but they're really good about still. The girls always still go outside, even though the oldest is 16, still goes outside to jump on the trampoline all the time, anytime it's pretty or stuff.
Well, that's true. The kids that have the screens, whenever I'm over there and they're outside, she is jumping on the trampoline a lot. That must be a girl thing.
I guess, because the boy never does. But he'll go out there and shoot all the time.
I've never had any interest in ever jumping on the trampoline. I mean, I probably have jumped on a trampoline once, but I never don't remember looking forward to it or trying to do it or taking advantage of it or anything.
When I was a kid, my cousin had a trampoline. I remember it being fun. When we bought the kids a trampoline, I took my fat ass out there and jumped on it. Yeah, I did it once. I thought I was dying the next day as I laid in bed all day.
Just shakes your guts all up, huh?
Yeah.
You don't need that. That sounds violent. All right. Anything else happening in the chat? Did that bring up anything? Get anything going? Because the kids were grown and jumping on it? Holy moly. They're like, move on.
Lasted that long.
Yeah. It's probably before nowadays this trampoline has safety bars, a big net around it, handlebars, they don't have to ever let go of anything if they want. They can still kind of balance even while holding on to stuff.
When we bought our trampoline, it had the big net around it and the big bars that go up.
Yeah.
And I just drove a T-post in the ground beside it and had it wired to a T-post with some baling wire. Well, the kids would move it out in the sun and put the sprinkler on it in the summer because it was kind of in the shade underneath the tree. So they'd move it out in the sun in the summer. Well, they moved it out and didn't pull it back over and tie it up one night. And we went shopping in Bartlesville, drove back home, and there's tree limbs everywhere from a storm that came through. And we picked up the trampoline about 300 yards away in a neighbor's pasture and brought it home. And it no longer had a safety net or anything on it after that.
Oh, you're saying it picked it up like a kite and just took it?
Oh, yeah, and it just totally destroyed the top, but it didn't hurt the bottom at all.
Yeah, back in the day, there were not only no safety nets, but they didn't put that extra stuff around the springs. I remember.
I got my head caught in springs as a kid.
Yeah, your hair would get caught in there, your arm would get stuck back in there, and plus they were made out of what the hell would you call it? Just freaking conduit with those little dimply things. I looked at the way that somebody'd set one up in 15 minutes in the backyard. Be like, hell no, I'm not jumping on that. It's waiting to fall apart. All right, Spectre's asking an actual question. What about firearms for gifts? I'm building and giving away 2 AR-15s to young adults this year for Christmas, family, friends, seeding the next gen shooters. Yeah, what age do you start giving kids AR-15s? I mean, 15 is a given, so they definitely should get one when they're 15. I think it probably is up to the kid, of course, but what do you guys think?
I mean, I gave all my kids a gun at some point for Christmas, but I think this year I'm going to get them all a lower just so they have one. If they choose to build it, they choose to build it. If not, it'll sit there and never get built.
Oh, that's interesting. So that's a perfect way to do it because then it's not very much at cost. So you can do it to as many kids as you want, give them as many as you want. And then,
I was just going to put it in all their stockings.
Yeah, exactly. It's little. And if they don't know what it is, then they get to learn. And if they know what it is, they're going to be grinning and start the engine. The gears are going to start moving, right? What are they going to build?
I mean, I'm sure my son will put every dime he has toward building it so he can have it built in just a few weeks. But the girls will be like, maybe. I mean, they like shooting them. They don't have anything against shooting them. They just probably aren't willing to spend their money on building it. It'll probably be me buying them a part every year.
Like a charm bracelet, except you're like, here's another part for your gun. Here's another part for your gun.
Here's an upper. Here's a barrel. Here's a parts kit. They just now arrived, Ozzy. Mine were there by Monday. Jeez, he must not have Prime.
But that's one of those things where because of the way the culture's gone, I don't feel comfortable just giving guns to kids anymore, or ever. I mean, whatever, you just can't do that. I've got some people I know who I could give their kid a gun and they'd be like, hey, thanks, that's a cool gift. But you know what I mean? I wouldn't have to ask them or nothing. I could just do it. but not everybody. Certainly not my family. They wouldn't be freaked out if I gave them a gun. Plus, some of them live where you can't. Whatever, they can't own them there. Any good, at least. Especially saying if you draw it out, they'll lose interest in the gift. That might be true.
Well, I'm really just getting it so they at least have a lower. That way, if the inevitable or the unthinkable does happen, and something happens, and they can't own them, and they'll have one that's grandfathered in per se if that's what happens again. Just so they would have it, just in case, even if they don't ever build it.
Clover's saying he wouldn't do that for his kids, or he didn't do that, or he only did it once because it's too expensive. So, how many kids you got? You got like 8 kids? All right, maybe. But you got only 3 kids? Come on. It's only 3 guns.
Yeah, that would be a cool thing if you got your, when you had a kid born, their first Christmas, you got them a lower, so they wouldn't never know about it till by the time they were old enough to shoot it every Christmas. You spent $50 on it every Christmas. By the time they're old enough to shoot it, you'd build a rifle with them, and they'd have a gun.
Mm-hmm. I would think you'd buy a gun for a kid as soon as they're born, just because, and then that means by the time they're 18, it's like an uninspired gun. Depending on what gun you bought, you might have just sent them to college or something.
That's something cool that I wish I had done when my kids were younger, or when they were babies.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time in my life, I couldn't afford to, really.
That's true. Most of the time when you're young when that's happening. Then it's the grandparents' fault because they could have done it. They had the resources.
Yeah.
Oh, now he's going back and saying that he's done it 3 times. So you can't keep track of what he's saying out there in text chat. He's trying to do this all through a pager and an Atari 2600. Pants saying he gave his dad a Smith & Wesson Model 10 when he retired. His first gun. Interesting. Sometimes when you retire, you got more time, so that might be an interesting way to introduce somebody into guns. Mike's throwing another $2 in there. Thanks again, but we got Patreon. Highly encourage you to take that $2, take it over to Patreon next time, and give us a buck, but then throw a buck at somebody else. See what you think of their content. And the thing is about Patreon is that buck will give us 70 cents. That $2 he gave us, they're going to take 70 cents out of that. But I do appreciate the gesture, Mike. Thank you. He's saying, "What's your guy's EDC? I carry a Colt King Cobra 357." Holy crap! Then if you got that kind of money, throw $20 in there, man. I'm just kidding. Colt, I would not carry a King. I'm not carrying a King Cobra 357. That's a very expensive gun. Or am I crazy?
Could be.
Yeah, I think the older ones at the gun show were going for about $1,400 or $1,600. Obnoxious was looking for one for $1,200, and I think the cheapest he found was $14 something.
I mean, they're not as expensive as this other snakes, right? The King.
No, not like a Python or nothing, but they're still expensive.
Yeah, they're $1,000 guns plus. So my EDC though is a smaller 357, a Ruger LCR I carry in a pocket, and then they have a was it a 41, a Glock 41, 45 ACP full size. Well, actually, it's bigger than full size. I think it's their like competition gun, I guess.
Long slide or whatever.
Yeah, it's just not as long as my 24, so I don't think of it as a long slide, but I think it is longer than the standard 20 or whatever it would be. Anyway, what's your guys' CCW or EDC or whatever you call it?
I think most people know mine. I carry a Glock 42 discreetly in the pocket.
I carry 99% of the time. I carry a Shield 9mm, and then I carry a 19 a lot too, and a Smith & Wesson Bodyguard when I can't carry anything else.
Pants is saying guns, but he's usually carrying the LCR X, which is the same one I got except with a hammer on it, right? And then sometimes a CZ-P07 and then a P229. What's a Rex Delta?
Aren't they the ones that kind of look like a SIG?
I don't know. I barely think I remember. Was that a come and gone thing, or are they still around?
No, they're still around. They were at NRAM. I know Obnoxious talked to them and took some pictures of them
Dover,
and stuff. But
believe. The same company made the Rex 01.
DMSAN and HNKP 30 and 40. It's 40 life. Notice how Clover's not saying anything? Because he doesn't carry. Just all for show. Where's Ghost at? He's not saying nothing either. Just all for show.
He's a ghost. He faded into the mid.
He carries one of them Ghostbusters guns.
Yeah.
it's like zaps you and sucks you up in a little box.
Like the human equivalent.
It's like you just call the cops and they're like, "Where are they?" "Oh, they're in this little box down here, but don't open it right now."
They're all saying fine.
Huh.
Oh, is that
Maybe that's what he was. I don't
That's
know
the
if that's
importer.
what,
Yeah.
is that Kavar? Is that Kavar? Is that their gun? It doesn't matter. Even if you told me, I wouldn't remember tomorrow. So there's no point in actually trying to. I'm just saying it casually. I don't really care. I don't know the gun. Clover carries gold and marshmallows. That's true. These Lucky Charms.
He's
Like a little
magically
sack.
delicious.
Yep, right on. So, yeah, we still got 15 people, so I hate to cut it off. Got about an hour into it. But I'm chomping at the bit to run my big ass monitor. Spectre saying thanks. Yeah, no problem. I can't wait to get the new stuff because, yeah, I've been really trying to figure out how to get the content from the tours out, and it's really just been a fucking struggle. So I'm hoping that this what's the word, giving me some real tools, some current tools will let the dam burst on some of that content, because there's a bunch of it. And once I've got some of the, you guys know how it is once you edit one video, especially something that could be a series, you've got 90% of the work done. Really, you just got to go grab your other piece of footage and replace it, and grab another piece of footage and replace it, and then a big chunk of all that is rendering. So if I can work this new computer the way I think, I can edit like all day long and then go to sleep and render. You know what I mean? I don't know if you guys do it like that or not, but that's what I'm looking forward to. Right now, I know how a computer works and I know what it should be able to do, but I just never had a computer in a long, long time that's been able to actually do it. So I've already got all kinds of about 300 different strategies in my head how I'm going to start playing with that new one. So, yep, appreciate it. And just hold on, because it's about to get back to the old days. I don't know if people remember, who all watches me anymore remembers the old days, but I could smoke anybody on YouTube for content, like quantity. Like, I never care about what's the word, production or quality, I guess. And I'm still not going to put a big effort on it. I know I can do better quality than before, but quantity wise, yeah, I'm looking forward to being able to see what I can do. So yeah, thanks for everybody for making that possible. Not that, I put this all on a credit card, but I did that because I'm confident going forward that we'll have support with Patreon and with the store. So yeah, thanks to everybody who might be out there listening, who's part of the people that make it all possible. Russ is out there. Have a good holiday here. I almost lost Marshmallow today. I'll post a picture of it here in a bit, but
Did it snow?
No, I guess it would technically, she's my niece, so that would make her Marshmallow's niece, or cousin, I guess, right? My sister's daughter, right? So there's a whole thing. But basically, she's a 9-year-old, maybe? She's this tall. Well, she's a little girl. And Marshmallow. Do I have to say more? So I almost didn't get her back.
Yeah.
Almost didn't. But, so anyway, so thanks everybody. We say thanks all the time, but today's Thanksgiving, so I fucking mean it. I wouldn't be able to do this shit. I wouldn't have any interest in doing this shit if it wasn't for people like Gary and Snob and some of the others out here. I wouldn't be able to do it without all of y'all. And we certainly wouldn't be doing it on YouTube if there wasn't people out there doing it. We're doing it on the Duck today. Duck sucks butt. We will start doing it on Chamber going forward more and more. I've got, what the hell do I have? I don't even remember what the hell software I bought. I bought something for $44 that's good for a year, and it's probably 3 or 4 months into, because I bought it in September, right? But I'll be able to use that software, so we'll be able to do more live stuff and hopefully take it in new directions and play with the webcams a little bit once there's some power. But again, thanks everybody, and I'll let Snob or Gary say anything they want to chat about before we head out.
Have a happy Thanksgiving and safe travels if you're traveling.
Same here from me. Be very careful out there on the road. Enjoy your time with your family, and we'll see you soon.
And don't get any fights if you're going Black Friday shopping afterwards.
Yep.
Put on some glasses. You don't want to accidentally hit a chicken when you're aiming for a turkey.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thanks everybody. We'll be back there tomorrow. I don't care about Thanksgiving, so I'll be doing a show tomorrow. I don't know if anybody else will be, but we'll see. And then Friday, do you think anybody's going live to watch events happen or anything? Has anybody talked about that? A lot of people are off on Friday,
Yeah.
so hopefully we can-
I'm doing my show on Friday night, but that's all I know so far.
Right on. So that's Friday at 9 Eastern.
9 Eastern, 8 Central.
See you then. Thanks, everybody.